So hit it.
Hello and welcome to This is the Play Sports, the podcast. It's a Super Bowl Sunday edition, so we've got some super guests tonight. Dad, tell us who we got tonight.
We got my old colleague from the Deseret News, Jody Genessy, and my longtime buddy, former Standard Examiner sports columnist, Jim Burton. Welcome, guys.
How you doing, guys?
Look what he's wearing on his head.
That's right.
He's loyal.
I shaved my head.
He's
a
loyal
big game.
to those Chiefs.
I am loyal.
Gotta
I
have
am,
that.
indeed.
Well, we appreciate you guys joining us. We're going to talk a little Super Bowl and a little jazz today.
Yeah. So, so as you guys know, we do 4 quarters, 4 topics, about 4 minutes long. So we'll get going here with our first quarter. The Super Bowl 54 just ended about a half hour ago. Let's get everybody's reactions to the game. Jody, you were at a party. You had a great time. You're driving back from the party right now. You're nice enough to join us from your car. What were your thoughts on the game?
I thought the streaker wearing the bra and the trying to pants himself. That was the highlight. Yeah, I've seen some highlights, and you got to listen to Kevin Harlan's play-by-play. It might be the greatest. He's taking off his undies. Pull up your pants, young man.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I was disappointed, honestly. I mean, you look forward to a good Super Bowl, and I thought the Chiefs would bring a lot more. And sorry, Jimbo, that
right.
bumped me out. I wonder if they just had, leading up with Andy Reid's son having that horrible accident, I wonder if that distracted them a little bit coming in.
There was a lot of heaviness.
Yeah.
What do you think was Kansas City's problem today, other than the fact that Mahomes was running for his life most of the game?
I think, for me, it was clearly that was the injuries on the offensive line. I think they really had to juggle that O-line. And, I mean, as you saw, Mahomes, that guy's he's basically a football trick shot artist. But, I mean, he was running for his life, and he didn't have any answers at all. And there were a lot of drop passes too, which that kind of jumped out at me a lot. Lots of passes that were dropped.
Yeah, I would agree.
Some of those passes he got off were amazing.
Oh, the one where he was parallel to the ground diving, and he hit the ball cleanly and hit the guy in the face mask, and he couldn't come down with it. I couldn't believe that. Yeah. But I mean, for me, I watched the game, and I just thought Kansas City just didn't have the right attitude going into the game, because the thing that was the point to me that the game ended was when Tyrann Mathieu got in Brady's face, almost right after Brady scored a touchdown. Like, dude, you're down 20 points and you're talking crap to Tom Brady. What are you exactly saying to him? I don't think they realized where they were at any point in the game. I thought that was a little ridiculous.
Well, it was a Super Bowl that was expected to be close. It wasn't. Jody, what happened at the party? Did people the commercials weren't that great either. So what'd you guys do?
I think the best commercial was the leading up to the Super Bowl with the Manning brothers and Terry Bradshaw and Jerome Bettis. I don't know if you guys saw that Doritos one. That is one of the best commercials I've ever seen, and it cracked me up. The hit of the party, we saw a ketchup apple crisp on Facebook the other day.
Disgusting. That made me sick. I saw your post.
And so my family is a ketchup family, so I had to bring it. I made it. It is so good. You don't even taste the ketchup. I'm going to bring you guys some. You're going to be converted to the ketchup apple crisp.
This guy loves ketchup. That sounds like something right up his alley.
I'll put ketchup on anything.
Yeah, he does.
Favorite.
Speaking of which, it's good to catch up with you guys. I've seen it.
Hey.
Holds my belly, yeah. That'll be good. Well, we've got about 30 seconds more to talk about the game itself. Jim, can Kansas City bounce back from this performance and be better again next year, or as long as Mahomes?
I think so. Yeah, Mahomes is phenomenal. He's just so fun to watch. I think they can bounce back from this. But honestly, big takeaway for me is, I always thought that I hated Tom Brady, but it turns out it was really the Patriots and Bill Belichick that I hated. And hats off to Tom Brady, man. I thought 43 years old, I don't know that I looked like that when I was 43. I didn't think I looked like that when I was 23. That guy's, he's a witch doctor. He made a deal with the devil.
He did. Well, this leads us into quarter number 2. Is Tom Brady the GOAT, Jody? 7 Super Bowl
championships. After Terry Bradshaw, you'd probably have to. No, I'm just kidding. I think Jim said it perfectly. I mean, he deserves so much credit. I think the Buccaneers. Let's be honest. The Buccaneers defense really won the Super Bowl for him. But to be 43 years old and perform at this level, and I felt the same way. I couldn't stand Tom Brady or the Patriots. I'm a Steelers fan, so they rubbed me wrong all the time. But Tom Brady tanked the Patriots this year, and he's hilarious on Twitter. So I'm starting to warm up to him a little bit.
No, I like the score old guys. Not that Jimbo and I are the old guys.
That's
but Jody,
true.
You're approaching the midlife of. Well, you're older than Tom Brady, right? So.
Yeah, we got the big 50 coming up in May. I said,
congratulations.
Let's not think of. My mom's like, hey, that's better than not having the 50th birthday. So she's
wise. Is it? No, just kidding. Well, she's right.
Well, Austin was making a point that maybe is Tom Brady the greatest of all time as an athlete, not just an NFL football player?
The thing about Tom Brady, the thought that just occurred to me, someone had an interesting post that the Patriots' 4 touchdowns were scored by the 3 guys that Tom Brady essentially recruited to come onto the team.
The Buccaneers,
Did I say Patriots? I meant Buccaneers. Yeah. There were 2 by Gronkowski, 1 by Antonio Brown, and the other by Fournette. And that just makes me think maybe there's more to Tom Brady than what we see happens on the field. Obviously, the guy is probably just an incredible locker room guy, and that probably just builds so much into what his legacy is going to be. There's so many things we just don't see him do. And I think those intangible things are really probably going to make him the greatest athlete of all time in my mind.
And I think
Austin's right.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Jim.
I totally agree with that. And he changed that culture. I mean, think about how bad that was not a great team last year and beyond that. And I mean, he changed that culture, and to get people to buy in like that, that's my theory that I always say, the great ones make it look easy, like anybody could do it. And today, Tom Brady made it look pretty easy. Like you sit there and go, man, I could stand back there and zing in a couple passes like that. And that's what he did. The great ones make it look easy, and he's the greatest.
Jody,
no doubt.
I have to agree that he's 7 Super Bowls. That's amazing. I mean, so I think I don't know if he's the greatest athlete of all time. I probably hold that word
athlete. Maybe a team.
A competitor, maybe probably one of the greatest competitors. It's hard to say he's better than Michael Jordan and a couple others, but he's up there. I mean, he's maybe the best leader the NFL has ever seen.
I'd give him that.
What he's done is remarkable.
Well, Michael Jordan comparison is kind of what comes to mind when you talk about GOATs, because obviously he was 6 for 6 in the NBA Finals and won all those awards, regular season, playoffs, all-star games. If you think about team sports, it's probably Tom Brady and Michael Jordan, wouldn't you think, as far as leading not just individual success, but team success? It's hard to argue because the numbers are there, right?
7 for 10.
Pretty good.
7 for 10 in the Super Bowl. That's Jimbo, pretty amazing.
Jimbo, if you and I had done that in school, we'd have graduated a couple years earlier.
No kidding. 7 out of 10. That's amazing.
We'll shoot for that.
Awesome. Cool. Let's move to our third quarter subject. I wrote a little bit about this on our website. This is theplaysports.com. Check it out. Alex Smith, University of Utah great, was named the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year. Everybody knows the story. Had that gruesome injury against the Texans a couple years ago and came back and, made a difference for the Washington football team. Jimbo, what were your thoughts on that honor being given to Alex Smith?
I thought it was awesome. Couldn't be happier. He's a good guy, and I know Dirk can talk to us. He's certainly better than I can. But just any interaction I had with the guy professionally couldn't have been smarter, nicer. Just a great guy, and that's really cool that he was able to get back on the field this year. Scared me a little bit, just as somebody who roots for him, and what a great honor. I'm proud of him.
Jody, you wrote a little bit about him at the Deseret News. What are your thoughts? And then wasn't unanimous. Ben Roethlisberger got one vote for that award.
Yeah, what's
that was from Jody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like when was it Ron Boone voted for Darren Williams for Rookie of the Year. I'm a Ben Roethlisberger fan. I'm a Steelers fan, true and through, and I couldn't believe that. I mean, yeah, Ben, in most years Ben would have been a good choice, but I think whoever that vote was, and unfortunately they don't name them like the NBA does, the voters. That's a shame. That's a disgrace almost, because there's nobody. That's like one of the most improbable, miraculous, amazing, throw in every hyperbolic adjective you can think of, comeback ever. I mean, you watch that video and see the photos of what happened after he had that 4 different flesh-eating bacteria. He went through, what was it, like 13 or 15 operations. His leg looked like somebody had gnawed down on a chicken bone. It was what he went through and almost died. And then just the sheer will and perseverance and heart he showed, and courage to get back on that field and then to lead. Sorry.
That's fine. That's a fine.
Don't worry.
That's $5.
To lead the WFT or whatever they're called to the playoffs, even though they're in a horrible division, but we won't talk about
that's not a good division.
A few years.
It was amazing, and I was just sad that he wasn't able to play in the playoffs, honestly, because I thought that would have been the cherry on top for him. But what a remarkable! I want to watch every documentary and movie and read the books, and I'm a huge Alex Smith fan.
Well, check this out. Our producer Sammy here. We're airing this right now in our man cave, so we're trying out a new graphics package and all that. Here we've got I've got a framed little autograph from Alex Smith here that Sammy just pulled out. And I've got a little mini helmet around here too with Alex's autograph and Urban's signature, or John Hancock on it as well. So anyway, Alex Smith, drafted first overall 2005 after a great run at Utah. How would you guys rate his NFL career in whole? Anybody?
I will say something that when he was with the Niners, he didn't get his due. It was just a bad situation. All those different coaches and quarterback coaches, offensive coordinators. But speaking as somebody who's rooted for the Chiefs for many, many years, when that stint he had in Kansas City, and you saw Mahomes today, you saw him last year, Alex Smith tutored that kid, and Mahomes has been great about giving him credit for it too.
Yeah, that's what I think about. That's exactly what I think about. I thought he was better in San Francisco than he got credit for, and I thought he was really good in Kansas City, and then he handled that so gracefully, the Mahomes transition, and just showed what a true pro he was. And then, to go back to the Washington football team and fight back and get the starting job there. Obviously, there were a couple of injuries ahead of him, but still, that was just. I think he's had a terrific career. I don't know, Hall of Fame, maybe because of what he went through. I would almost think that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. When you consider, I'm just blown away that he made that comeback.
Yeah.
And to me, that's such an inspirational. That's what sports is all about, is overcoming odds and
true.
Put him in the Hall.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is a lot of people think maybe the NFL should rename the Comeback Player of the Year award after Alex Smith because of what he went through. And, you know, I can tell you firsthand, having been the Utah beat writer when he was playing at Utah, just a great, I call him a kid because he's younger than me, but a great kid. And, you know, a few years ago, he came back. I don't know if anyone's seen this, but I think it's on YouTube, but he gave a speech at Utah's commencement. And I recommend anybody that gets a chance to watch that. It is fantastic. And prior to that speech, you know, I was able to interview him, and he gave me all the time in the world, and it couldn't have been nicer, and just a great guy. But if you get a chance to listen to his commencement speech he gave at Utah a few years ago, you'll like the guy even more than you probably like him now. He's a real good guy. So it's good to hear.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so let's move around to our fourth quarter. We're going to get in big trouble here if we don't mention the hottest team in the NBA, the Utah Jazz. Right now, they've got a 19-5 record. They've won 15 of the last 16 games, including today's game. I mean, we already know it's Sunday. They played the Indiana Pacers, won like 103-95, I believe, in a game they probably shouldn't have won. So I was wondering, Jody, you were the longtime Jazz beat writer. What do you make of this team?
Yeah, as you said, their record 19-5. I was thinking about that season that Jim and I, we were there like all the time for. They had 25 wins in an entire season, and here it is January, and they're in a shortened season that started late, and they already have 19 wins. Just phenomenal. I was thinking about this tonight. I think this is the deepest Jazz team ever. Honestly, I don't know if it's the best team ever, but the way they're playing right now, they're on. I mean, they potentially could be, but they've never had a guy like Jordan Clarkson who lights it up off the bench. Joe Ingles coming off the bench. Derek Favors coming off the bench. And then their starting five is with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and the way Mike Conley's playing this year, they're fun to watch.
Jimbo, you are also a longtime beat writer. What's your take on this team?
I tend to agree with Jody. I love that take about their depth because it's true. They're so strong top to bottom, and over the long haul, that's what you have to have. And you think about it. I mean, you know, some of those Dirk, I know you covered those teams that went to the finals in the late 90s. They had pretty good depth, but man, and I think the whole Jordan Clarkson thing, I think, is really, that guy contributes so much, and I like to think that it kind of shows around the league that you know, Utah's a pretty good place to go to. Play for the Jazz, play for Quinn Snyder. I think they're making it. They're definitely making a name for themselves, and I think it's something that can help them over the long haul.
We talked about.
I'm just impressed because they shoot 3-pointers like Jim and Dirk do. So.
I was getting to that. Yeah, that's what I was getting.
They shoot them like we do. They don't make them like
Jody
miss them, I should say. Yeah.
Jody and I are on the same brainwave. Yeah, we talked about this last week with my friend Tyson Ewing, who's the broadcast statistician for Bowler Jack and the boys. The Jazz are shooting 3-pointers at a blistering pace, and I think that really contrasts with like how that team has kind of, you know, developed over the years. You know, they used to be a gritty, like defensive first team, and you know, they used to just really try to, you know, grind you out, win those games, but that were like really low scoring. Now, they can get 110 points a game without question. Does that contrast like greatly to what you saw as beat writer, Jody?
Jody,
oh yeah, I mean,
Jody, I was just going to ask you too. Tell us also what you think Jerry Sloan would think of all these 3-pointers.
Oh yeah, that's a better question.
Well, I'm thinking back to the miracle in Miami when Millsap went off, and everybody's like, "Wow, Paul Millsap can shoot 3-pointers," and it was just like this kind of a phenomenon. And Jerry joked after that game that Paul had the green light or whatever, but he really didn't, because that just wasn't the Jazz's MO. I mean, they wanted to work it inside, and they're an inside out. They had a couple of good 3-point shooters, but I watched a video the other day. It was like a minute and a half, just a highlight of Jazz from, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. It was that game where Jerry Sloan got bumped. Was it Courtney Kirkland, the referee? They were hitting all these mid-range jumpers. It was such a different game, and now they can just light it up. And I think, honestly, Jerry Sloan would be – he used to always say, you know, I don't want to I don't want a shooting guard. I want a making guard. Well, the Jazz have a lot of making guards.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. That thought, because Jerry would say, "I don't mind you taking a three as long as you make it," and it's just. But basketball itself, the NBA has evolved into something that I don't know if Jerry would recognize, and if he did, how he would feel about it. I'd like to think that he could see, okay, the game's evolved with the 3-point shot. But yeah, you don't take these mid-range jumpers anymore, man. It's a dunk or it's a 3-pointer, and that's kind of the way the league has evolved. And give the Jazz credit; they're out in front of it.
Yeah, and I think back to the days of Adrian Dantley when the Jazz would feed the ball into AD in the post and fed it into Karl Malone and that, and before Austin was had come of age. Now the game's changed. And these kids.
What's a post move? Yeah,
these kids in their 3-point shooting. I'm impressed. So you do get one more point from what I understand if you shoot from beyond the arc. So
one of my favorite quotes, I think it was Antonio. What was his name? Shot threes all the time. Played for the Celtics, the Heat. They said, "Why do you take so many threes?"
Walker.
And he said, "Yeah, because there are no fours." And that's, I don't know, having played intramural basketball with my buddy Dirk, he would shoot fours if he could.
Or fives even, but wouldn't
yes.
Well, guys, appreciate it. Now we're going to our closing segment, the parting shots, and I'll start. My parting shot today is I'm kind of amazed every year at the Super Bowl how patriotic it is. You sit and watch the pregame show, the national anthem and that, and dang it, it doesn't matter if you're blue or red, we're all Americans. And I know that sounds melancholy, but I'm always proud to be an American when the Super Bowl kicks off because I get all pumped, from the national anthem and the flyovers and such. And so it was nice in this pandemic to have a little bit of normalcy, even though there were a lot of cardboard cutouts there. But it was nice to see the Super Bowl get played, and it was fun to see an old man teach a young buck a thing or two.
Yeah. He still's got a little bit left in the tank.
I don't know which one of you guys wants to go next with your parting shot, but Jim,
I'll jump in. I just finished reading a book about Pete Maravich. It's Mark Kriegel, I think. I can't remember the name now. The biography of Pete Maravich, and just in talking about threes a second ago, he played a long time where there wasn't a 3-point shot, and I don't know. I learned a lot in this book and it's been out for a little while, but I love Pete Maravich, man. And it's cool to see his number hanging from the rafters, even though he didn't have much of a career here when he played in Salt Lake. But I think about the 3-point shot and Pete Maravich, and he would have maybe been the all-time leader.
When the Jazz moved to Salt Lake, I was pumped because I was a Pete Maravich fan. In fact, I had a hoodie that said Pistol on the back, and I'd wear that all the time. I know that'll shock you that I wear the same thing over and over and over, but I did. And
no way.
If you play NBA Street Volume 2 on the PlayStation 2, Pistol Pete is very good, a very good playable
character. The man could play.
That's the millennial appreciation for Pistol Pete.
He had these floppy socks, and he could pass like a champ, and it was great. Jody, what's your parting shot tonight?
Well, first of all, I'm going to have some nightmares, I think, about all those dancers with the red eyes. That kind of freaks me out. I didn't know if they were redoing that Turnaround Bright Eyes video or Terminator or something, but that was kind of bizarre. But here we are, guys. It's Sunday night, February 7th. We're talking about sports. I want to tip my hat to the NFL and the NBA and even college sports and the NHL and the Major League Baseball. They've done some pretty difficult things to get sports to go during this pandemic era, and it sucks that the fans can't be there, and some people don't even think fans should be there, and that the athletes shouldn't be playing right now. But all four of us have benefited from sports so much. It's been such a huge, vital part of my life, and so I'm really thankful that we have that to. It kind of brings us together, it just bonds us. And my heart goes out to Jim right now. I know what it's like to lose Super Bowls with the Steelers. But
don't bring up Seahawks Steelers Super Bowl. I don't want to hear about it.
That's right.
It hurts.
Well, despite what the refs tried to do and tried to steal away this. No, but I love sports, and it's just awesome that they're back even amidst this pandemic.
Austin, bring us home.
Yeah, the thing that I thought of while Jim was talking about Alex Smith, I'm going to link to this video in our comments, but when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year, I don't know if you saw this, Jimbo, they had another Chiefs fan, not quite as famous as Jimbo. They had Paul Rudd at the parade talking about what the Chiefs meant to him. And he actually said, I'm sitting here, I'm watching the parade, and I can't help but think about Alex Smith and how much he means to this team and how important he was in the Chiefs, ascent to Super Bowl glory. So it's a really good video. I think it was on like NFL Network or something, but I think it just goes to show that Alex Smith, great guy. He's really appreciated by the fans of, I think pretty much everywhere he's been. So I can't speak for Niners fans, but I think that's just what I thought of when I heard Jimbo talk about Alex. And so I thought that was kind of cool.
Good takes, guys. I appreciate you joining us tonight. They're good friends of mine, and we got extremely short notice, and I appreciate you guys saying yes. And
it's fun.
The check's in the mail, right?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for having us on, and all the best. This is the Play Sports. I will contribute one of these days. If you
guys we're looking forward to that.
And Jimbo's a contributor, and it's really we're doing some good things because we have good guys. You guys helping us, and that. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, so follow us on social media, subscribe to the podcast. I'm talking to those of you who are listening, and tune into the website to check out some great stuff. We appreciate your time, guys.
See you next week. Thanks.
Thanks, boys. Good seeing you.